Madrid continues their rampage on the transfer window, even before the transfer window opens, as they have just, in reports, completed a deal or completed a verbal agreement with Bournemouth, as they are going to probably get Dean Huijsen from Bournemouth. It is basically reported by Fabrizio Romano that Bournemouth have approved Real Madrid conditions for Dean Huijsen's deal, with £50 million release clause to be paid by the end of 2026. Deal done club to club. Final green light to proceed and seal the deal with players camp, as Huijsen always gave priority to Real Madrid. I want to say this: Real Madrid and Barcelona currently have, to me, one of the four, or let me not say even one of, they have three of the four best young defenders in the world of football. And I say that because you are looking at Cubarsí of Barcelona, Spanish, you are looking at Asensio of Real Madrid, Spanish, and now Huijsen is probably going to Real Madrid, and he is also Spanish. Let me tell you why this dude is a special player, and why I think Real Madrid might have just done perfectly in terms of letting Leny Yoro leave to Manchester United and not really pushing for that, and getting Dean Huijsen. Now, I am not comparing both of them because I still think Leny Yoro has a better ceiling than Huijsen. However, this is the key part. Huijsen, or Huijsen, I just don't know how to pronounce his name, is such a talent that if you put someone around him or next to him to partner, you will see the greatness coming out of it. And I understood, because a lot of things came out in the past few weeks that Huijsen is looking at, or Liverpool are looking at the Dean, Arsenal are looking at Dean, Newcastle are looking at Dean. There was no way he was going to leave, especially because Real Madrid was sniffing around. And not just that, he came out and said Sergio Ramos was his favorite player in the world. That alone in its own right, I think, kind of sealed the deal for me. He was going to Real Madrid. Real Madrid just needed to come into the race and they would have gotten him. But let me tell, for people in the back that do not know who this player is, of course we know how he started. Juventus, Roma, back to Juventus, and Juventus made the biggest mistake of their lives because they would have had a defender for a decade in this kid. They sold him to Bournemouth, I believe, for around £25 million. And I know they are regretting it because this is a defender that could probably be going for 75 if there was no release clause. That is how good he is. And for his age, it's ludicrous. Dean Huijsen is an exciting young centre-back who has been making waves in the Premier League with Bournemouth. His stats suggest that his qualities are just meant for bigger teams, and honestly, for a team like Real Madrid to come get him. We are looking at defensive. Let's start with defensive strengths. Strengths for Dean is he averages about 7.05 clearances per game, placing him in the top defender category. 7.05, and he is playing in a Bournemouth team. That means you are going to be seeing a lot of presses, a lot of attacks, and a lot of duels that he has to actually deal with. And he has clearances worth 7.05 per game. Ludicrous. And then let's look at his interceptions, because a sign of a good defender is a defender that can intercept the play without going to the ground. And this is what interceptions basically calculate. His 1.97 interceptions per 90 minutes ranks him in the 97th percentile compared to other centre-backs. Let me tell you this. This same thing, or close to the same thing that we are looking at Virgil van Dijk. It is close to the same thing that we are looking at Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. It is close to the same thing that we are looking at who is top centre-backs, Upamecano. That's what this kid is doing at Bournemouth. His ability to read the game and literally step in without even getting dirt on his shoulder, like nothing. He would step in and just clean it up, crystal clear. And that is what Dean does perfectly well. 1.97 interceptions per 90 minutes. It is remarkable. And then we look at ball progressions, because with Xavi Alonso going to Real Madrid, Xavi Alonso needs his centre back to be able to start the attack. That is one of the key things that he saw in Jonathan Tah. He saw in the other defender, I've forgotten his name, is it Tapsoba or something like that? Those are the things that he needs in those centre backs, because he is probably going to be playing a 3 centre back system in La Liga next season. And that is where Dean would come in, because you are still looking at the greatness of Rudiger. You're looking at the smart play of David Alaba. But then you start seeing the Asensios coming challenging Alaba's position. But you also have Dean Huijsen coming in to complete that third role. It is beautiful to think about. And in his ball progressions, he completes about 4.67 progressive passes per game, showing his ability to move the ball forward. It is quite crucial, because one thing that Real Madrid lacked so heavily this season was the ability to beat lines, is to beat presses, is the ability to basically play one pass and basically bypass 2 lines of defense. They just couldn't do it, especially with Toni Kroos retiring last season. They just couldn't do it. And somebody like him that has the ability to move forward in that midfield role and play those passes will be so crucial to what Real Madrid does in the future. That is one thing that we have to say. And then we look at his aerial ability, because it's not just about you being good on your feet. As a defender, you need to be able to command the air just as you command, In this, you're looking at his aerial abilities. He wins 2.58 aerial duels per match, making him a strong presence in the air. It is just a complete defender. He is a complete modern day defender, and it's truly remarkable that Real Madrid might have just gotten this guy on a huge deal. And I think because they know that he is so good, they decided they do not want to wait to risk what happened to Lenny Yoro to happen to him in the next 2 years. Because I can tell you for sure, he was not going to be in Bournemouth next season. Because it was either Arsenal went and splashed a whole lot of money to bring him in, or Liverpool did that, or somebody, or Newcastle did the same thing. They were not going to see him in the next summer, or 2 summers coming, where he sees his his contract expires. They were just not going to see that. And then we look at the composure on the ball, because that's one thing that Real Madrid has lacked so dearly this season. Every single person is panicked. Every single person. And of course, Rudiger is such a good player. However, the control is not his strong suit. The control of his calma. Don't do too much. Relax. Play football. Don't go crazy. That is not his strong suit. He is the bull in the China shop. I'm going to intimidate my defenders. However, Dean Huijsen is a person that plays football like he doesn't want to sweat. Is a person that plays football like he goes to the brothel and doesn't want to step on anything nasty. That is how Dean plays football. Smooth, slick, like as if he just literally returned from the Silk Road. That is Dean. Because composure on the ball, we are looking at 83.4% pass completion rate. Suggests that he is so comfortable playing out of the back that it will be so crucial for Xavi Alonso next season. I'm telling you, it will be crucial for him. It definitely will be, and I cannot wait to see him doing the magic at the Santiago Bernabeu. Of course, we know that Barcelona did their big one this season. 4 straight El Clasico wins. It was literally a flip from what Real Madrid did the last season before, with 4 straight, I believe, El Clasico wins at that time. So Real Madrid needs to regain their dominance in the El Clasico and their dominance in the La Liga. And then we come to the one and final thing that Real Madrid absolutely needs to add to. They are not lacking in this situation because you still have Chouameni, you still have Rudiger, you still have tall players that can absolutely dominate in the air and basically be a goal threat on set pieces. However, they are adding a little sprinkle in a defender that is not only that dominant in the air but absolutely knows how to find the back of the net. I believe Dean Huijsen has scored 3 goals in the Premier League this season, providing he can contribute offensively. This is a complete modern defender, and Real Madrid are definitely making the right decision in getting him, because if he did not, I know for sure he would still be playing in the Champions League next season, because somebody must and will have scooped him up, no doubt about it. His stats indicate that he is a well-rounded defender with strong defensive instincts, ball playing ability, aerial dominance, qualities that top class value highly. His performances suggest that he could be a great fit for a team looking for a young dynamic centre back. Let me tell you something. First, what do you think about this situation? What club? Of course, we know he's probably going to Real Madrid, but do you think he's going to make the impact that I believe he is going to make? Let me know in the comments. Do not forget, I want to communicate with you guys down in the comments, and that is the best way that I can reach out to you guys so we can talk about the game we love. Dean Huijsen is probably going to be hearing the 3 words, "Here we go," for him to join Real Madrid sooner than later. This is a big one, and Real Madrid have done a big one. Let me know what you guys think about this. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.